Hi guys, welcome here. It's Chip, Chatterbot newsletter, podcast, radio, and if you have just joined me or you're a new member, I want to welcome you guys. If you have been a loyal member and you have been part of our business and part of our newsletter business, Chatterbot series, I want to thank you as well. We're getting so many really cool and kind words from you guys. And hey, look, even last week, one of our haters joined our team and actually is part of our membership and newsletter membership as well. So I am going to spend a little bit of time with you today because I feel it's mandatory that I talk about some things with inside my business, then outside of my business, and then also in regards to the entire crypto space and blockchain community. The reason is I am really, we're taking things to a new level with everything we're doing. And I believe that while probably, some people call me a blockchain expert or crypto expert, I'm really not sort of comfortable with that whole title because I consider myself really to be more of a nerd in the background. I've been interested and involved with the financial world, quants, and also the software that backs up some of these large stockbroking firms. And my background is in that. Also a little bit of technical analysis, and I've been analyzing the financial and crypto and digital currency world for a long time now. So a lot of people might read our pages and they might think that I'm just someone, with no experience coming forward and writing a newsletter, which is not true. So I've been an entrepreneur now for a good space of about 20 years. I started out in the multimedia world where I was doing a lot of video editing, cartoons, video productions, audio productions, and when I first got involved with all this, I knew that multimedia was going to be pretty big. It is now today, in today's world, and I have a double degree in multimedia and economics. So for me personally, I've always been involved in the financial world. I've always been involved somehow with the stock market, but that really rolled into my technical knowledge because I have a team of programmers and I've worked with many big broking firms here in Australia and also predictive analysts or predictive analytic data is probably what I would call it. And so while the newsletter on the front end of our service is really successful and we have a lot of clients, we have big clients, we have small clients, we have business clients, it's really exciting because since about 2017 when we had a massive bull run in the crypto market, I really noticed that we were getting a higher caliber of clients come into our regime of the businesses and the services and the offers we provide. So I offer a lot of services, but for the mums and dads and anyone interested, I really do feel that the best read for you guys is the cryptocurrency stuff. Now, it's a very complicated topic, but I'll make it simple because I want to explain this to you guys in layman's terms because we've been very successful this year in calling crypto events, crypto prices, and crypto market movements before they have arrived. And I put that down to having a very successful team around me, the right programmers, and we've just done a massive update to our blockchain apps and dApps that are in the blockchain. So I will explain that very quickly for you guys, and then I'll explain how we adapt that into what I call our Chatterbot newsletter and linguistic data. So think of it like this. The easy way to explain this is in a 24-hour period, guys, there's forums and there's blogs and there's news and there's radio podcasts and there's people writing stuff and random tweets. There's people on Facebook, there's people on MySpace. And if you can imagine in a 24-hour period, there's so much data that's being infiltrated and inputted onto the internet every week. Like, we're talking about millions and millions and millions of different characters, millions and billions of different words, and billions of different pages. And, obviously no one could keep up with it. And for me personally, I always wanted to, I don't consider myself to be an intellectual, but I always hang around people that are smarter than me. When you're hanging around people that are smarter than you, you obviously increase your knowledge, increase your intelligence, and increase your wisdom in lots of areas. So I hang around with lots of people in business, lots of people in crypto and programming and that, to the likes of that, which basically people that are a lot smarter than me and can give me a lot of good advice. And I have had a lot of good advice. But getting back to what I'm talking about, so much data is being put on the internet these days. And realistically, I sat down one day and thought to myself, hey, look, there's so many people losing money in crypto. There's so many people losing money in the stock market. There's so many people losing money in the commodities market, and they're not doing the right thing. And I always thought, with my technical knowledge, there is always a way where you can sit down and sort of predict, maybe a 50-50 chance of events, or, looking at a chart pattern and you see an ascending triangle. If you don't know what an ascending triangle is, go and look it up. And basically, if you're doing the right charting patterns, you can predict what sort of movements are going to come on the stock market in a certain period of time. That's fine. However, we have to remember that with this analysis, nothing is set in stone. And with all my stuff, guys, and all our predictive data and text and, our newsletter, we're not guaranteeing anything, but we've been very, very accurate the last year, and I've seen our business skyrocket, and I've seen massive things happen. And obviously the data we're putting out there is changing people's lives. So I'm not always about, I want you to get rich and I want you to be, this, and I want you to have the next, $1 million yacht. I'm always about trying to help people and help create a different lifestyle and a different circumstance. I don't really care what background you have. I don't really care where you've come from, if you've come from a rich family, a poor family, or middle class family. And so I've always been that person I really wanted to help. So getting back to what I was saying, I sat down with myself and I thought, okay, well, there's so many systems out there that I tried. There's so many different things you can read. There's so many different alert services that you can subscribe to. There's so many different other, you can use your intuition if you want, and you can read and read and read and read. However, I felt that I was getting nowhere with this, and a lot of my clients were asking me, hey, look, what you have at the moment is really good, but what we're after is, like, is there an actual way you can be able to tell what's going to come in the future before it happens? And I thought, wow, that's a really cool question. So I sat down, and this is a really long story, so I'll cut it short. And so personally, myself, I'm not psychic. I can't read the future. I don't see a tarot card reader. I don't really have any knowledge about what is going to happen tomorrow. We can all go out there and we can, basically we can get hit by a bus tomorrow and we can get killed. No one really knows what is out there and what is coming tomorrow. But I thought to myself, what if there is an actual way that I could program a little application or whatever and put it on the internet and test it to see if it could pick up, certain events that would come, or certain well, it was good with our politics, so I was thinking maybe a political event or something like that. And this was back in 2008. So we had a little tiny app that was a web-based application before blockchain had even come on the whole scene. And I helped Jared Wagami, he's from Japan and very, very good with the programs. I said, look, hey, I've got this problem, see if we can do something and predict something to happen before it happens. And guys, this is all documented because we put it up on YouTube, and we actually predicted the stock market crash of 2008, literally in about January 2008. So we were I mean, as a test, I thought it probably wasn't going to work. And Jared and a few of my other team members, they were trying to work out. We sort of thought we had an idea of what's happening, and we thought we were close. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we put out there that there could be some major events with the banks happening, because that's what our little bots were picking up. And basically, we saw problems sort of like in June, and then by October, the stock market had crashed like 40%, and down it went. And obviously, you know the story, subprime crisis, banks went down, Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, and yada, yada, yada. And so for me personally, that was like an aha moment. And we thought, hey, look, there's something with this. And we tried for about a year. We had a lot of really good predictions. We started our newsletter, and we've been going for a long time. It's been very successful. And where we've really seen the power come in is basically with blockchain technology. So we are using blockchain technology to produce apps and dApps, decentralized applications that are set in the blockchain, that basically over a 24-hour period, we can set, keywords or events or a subject. The apps and dApps will spread out across the blockchain on the internet, and it will find keywords and events and paraphrases. And we generate like over about 100,000 pages, A4 pages of data every 24 hours. So my job here, really, I'm not really a guru of anything. What I'm trying to do is I'm more a data collector, I would call it. We have a lot of data we're collecting, like I said, over 100,000 pages a day, and my job is to use another application to clean up that data. It's a very involved process. I like to be locked away sort of in a cave, like I close the door and I might have some soft music on, and I'm basically, my job in that couple of hours is just to sit through and sift through lots of things. And I will tell you that it's a very annoying and complicated sort of a task to perform. However, I love it because there is a thing in the back of my mind that triggers, that sort of says, hey, like you could be giving people the pre-news about a bigger event that's coming. And so that's what keeps me sort of focused. That's what keeps me really alive in this. And I have a passion for doing that. And so getting back to what I was saying, it really is trying to predict what could happen tomorrow or next week or next month before it actually happens. So think of it like you're sitting at the breakfast table. Now imagine if you're sitting there and you're eating your Cocoa Pops and drinking your orange juice, and someone knocks at the door and says, oh, here's your newspaper for the next 6 months. So it's pretty weird, right? But hypothetical, you're getting the news of what things could happen, tomorrow, or what things could happen next week or next month. And what if you had the notion that someone could profit, or you or someone else in your family could profit off that sort of information? So fast forward 10 years, now it's 2019, and things have really changed. So with the with the invention of blockchain and blockchain technology, for me personally, that has really taken our bots and the accuracy of our bots to a whole new level. I know this is sort of a bit nerd talk, but I need to run you through all this to give you a background on what is happening and why we've been really successful, especially this year. So imagine if you could read the newspaper, and I do believe that, I think people in the future that hold the most data and information will have the most power. And so for me, that's where the power lies, right at the bottom line of our business, because if you have information that powerful about what could, like an 85% chance of an event or a situation or a commodity or a stock market price or a crypto price, or anything like that could happen 6 months down the line, and you had an opportunity to get in, or to, basically involve yourself with that event before it even happens, well, you're going to, you have a very good chance of winning. So a lot of our clients that even have had no money to begin with, or maybe a little bit of money, I wouldn't class them as being broke, but this has really changed their life, because they were able to get involved in an event that nobody is actually talking about, hardly anyone is talking about. But the power of our Chatterbot and our linguistic data is we sprawl across all areas of the internet. We go on social media, we go on forums, we go on blogs, all over the place, in Google Groups. And the power really is in just listening and hearing what people are typing every single day, because I believe that there is a huge benefit in doing that, because as people actually use their fingers to type stuff on many different forums, what people don't realize is they have this really powerful intuition. So when people are reading certain events, when they're watching the news at night, when they are talking with their friends, when they are listening to YouTube videos, when they're reading social media, there is this cognitive dissonance where they are storing a lot of information in the back of their mind, and when they're talking to people about a certain subject, they have this really likely inclination to, type stuff based on what they know or are hearing at the time. And I know this gets really complicated. However, when people are typing stuff, it's funny that, when you are joking about something with someone on a forum, when you're joking about an event, it's funny how sometimes 6 months later that actually happens. And so realistically, when we spend our money programming our bots, this is what we're trying to what am I trying to say? Basically, we're trying to cheat in a way and tap into that people have this intuition, and when they're typing stuff on the internet, they are kind of like using the psychic ability part of their brain and predicting stuff to happen before it happens. And I know if you're listening to this right now, you've probably remembered in the past, like talking to your neighbor Fred and saying, "Oh, I really think that Trump is going to get in 2016, mate." Oh, and then Fred might say, "Oh, I don't really know about that. I don't really want him getting in." But it's not really the opinion that matters. It's the talking and the chatter that we're interested in, and the data that we can come out of that. And we did predict that in 2016 that Trump would not only win, that he would just absolutely demolish Hillary in the general, US elections. And so for me, that was sort of the really big aha moment. And since then, we've been doing fantastic. And our apps and dApps that are set now in the blockchain are doing fantastic. And people I know have been asking a lot about how they work and how they run and everything in between. So it is important for me today to tell you how they work. So if you're not confused right now, congratulations. But I do try to explain it I'm sort of a bit more of a nerd sometimes. It's hard for me to relay information more than explain it in a layman's term way. But I just need to tell you guys that this stuff is not a crappy thing. It's very powerful. I've had the government come to me and offer me large sums of money for the technology itself. I've had business enterprise groups come and just offer me very large offers of money for the technology, or to help them in terms of, making them become a top leader in their business or niche, based on some of the data we're seeing. So I do offer that service to some people. But for me personally today, what I'm talking about is in terms of what's happening right now in crypto. So the data we were seeing in about 2015 was saying this digital currency thing is going to be not only important, but this digital currency thing is going to be talked about a lot. And that's the whole keyword, the chatter, the mentions. It will be like this this fad that would turn into a massive boom. So fast forward to a couple of years later, 2018-19, and that is actually specifically what has happened. And we also have data that makes me a little bit worried about crypto and the fad and the boom, and this whole new fad, I would call it, of crypto. And we will slowly be releasing that data. And for me personally, I do think, we have made very nice sums of money. As you know, you're listening to this right now, the the price of Bitcoin was 2,500, and it's almost now, as you're listening to this, it's almost back up at the 10,000 mark. It's sold off a little bit, but you have to realize with these commodities and these, I would call it a digital asset, that prices can't go up in a straight line, and you got to realize that in 2017, when the price of Bitcoin went to nearly 20,000, things just, I have never seen an asset do that in all my experience, and we did have some pretty bad news when that happened. So we released that to our members. Some of them got out, some of them decided to hodl. Be that as it may, I don't care what people do with their money. I'm just trying to release data and accurate data when that is supposed to be my job. So in the end, guys, I basically am still offering my service and my Chatterbot newsletter, and in the process of doing that, I feel that I'm helping a lot of people, and I don't claim anything. I don't guarantee you're going to become rich from crypto, but I do believe that I am putting out information. And like I said, getting back to what I was talking about, it's sort of like getting cryptos the news for crypto and Bitcoin, 2 weeks in advance, 3 weeks in advance, 8 weeks in advance. And that really is part of what I've been doing, and successfully, by the way. I'm not doing any charting or anything like that, but there are certain little temporal markers that we give, and these are, like, I would call them mini events that we predict, and we've actually hit about a 95% success rate. Obviously, no one's going to be 100% successful, but we give the chatterbots these little temporal markers, mini events, to try and predict before major events happen, and that's actually been really good. And if you're actually part of our newsletter membership, you already know that we have one little mini event coming, and I am not excited, but I'm sort of confident that we're going to see something happen there. And if that mini little event happens, it could bring some other good news along with it. So I know I won't give away too much here. I just need to tell you that some of these events that we've been triggering, and some of these events that have been triggered, have been very accurate, and the data and the words that have been coming through on our Chatterbot system have been very, very accurate and very, very honed in. Whereas in the past, we might have analyzed specific words or events, and it was sort of more generalized. So with what we've been doing over the last 18 months is try to get things more specific and to basically clean up our data. I have a whole new language, and it's ridiculous, guys. I won't get into it, but I have a whole new application now that actually analyzes over the, when we get 100,000 pages of data of events and prices and different things happening, that'll orchestrate like a final result where I can put something in more of a writing form, where I can sort of talk to someone. And I know there's one of our members, Fred. He's like, oh, I just love the way you write your newsletters. It's kind of like you're talking to me over a cup of tea. And I guess, I didn't really see it that way. I don't really class myself as a good writer, but I do like to communicate a lot with different people in different ways. And I just felt like with our Chatterbot newsletter, it's a little bit more intimate, where I can, it's not all about business and let's make money. It's sort of like, let's have a bit of fun. Let's, a few smiley faces and emojis and all that sort of stuff. And so for me personally, this really is my life, guys. I have really dedicated to a lot of part of the last 5 years of my life, and this is what I do. This is my passion, and I feel that no need to show off here, but I really feel that I'm at the top of the game here, probably in Australia. I would say I don't know anyone else here that really does the sort of linguistic. I know there's a person down in Sydney, Australia, that he might have a go at it, and he gets on the news every now and then, but we are a lot different. We're doing crypto stuff and stock market stuff. And we are also sort of hinting, or some of the data that, if you want to know some of the interesting data that we have right now, is more to do with the Deutsche Bank. We feel that we have data, and we have linguistic patterns that show up there that feels like Deutsche Bank is going to go through a very, very rough time. And Could even collapse. Yes, I'm not sure about that, or go bankrupt. Something along those lines. I'll give you those keywords or key phrases. And I could just imagine, like, if that happens, wow, whoa, I mean, it's going to do pretty serious things to the stock market. And I know other banks in and around Europe or Italy are probably going to suffer for a little bit. And I don't really see that happening. The dates and the temporal markers we have on that are not really anything specific until the end of 2019. So we're going to see a lot of things happen before then. And for me personally, I'm really not interested too much in the stock market at the moment, more so the cryptocurrency, and it's very volatile. And I think as you're listening to this, I wouldn't expect it to change. It's going to be ups and downs, ups and downs. However, we're really focusing our attention on specific events and key dates and that sort of thing. And this year we've been very accurate. And I know that in about December or January, and everyone, it's like it's the crypto bear market, and everyone was getting like ridiculously bearish and negative. Oh my God, I sold all my crypto. I can't take it anymore. What was the other comment I heard? This is the end. Crypto's going to zero. Oh, get out of your Bitcoin. I heard all these people screaming, guys. And I thought, well, it just feels to me, I was sort of like saying, well, guys, I could be wrong here, but the data and linguistic patterns on our Chatterbot was sort of hinting everyone's on the side of the bus. This bus is tipping over. Everyone is like getting too negative, and this is what the data we were seeing. They said, too negative and too bearish, and basically there was going to be a substantial rally coming in Bitcoin. And pretty much several weeks later, I would say 7 weeks and 2 days later, we had a massive run on Bitcoin, and we have been flourishing up since. So you need to understand that in terms of investor sentiment, almost everyone was short Bitcoin, everyone was down on it, everyone's saying the bubble's burst, everyone's saying this is finished. And like on a seesaw, when you're on a seesaw with your friend, normally when things go one way too far, they have to go the other way, and you get this gigantic swing to the other way. We saw that massive buyers come in. A lot of people that were waiting for cheaper prices on Bitcoin came in. And for me personally, I was just ecstatic because I had, some money invested in Bitcoin, obviously, and I've held Bitcoin for a long time. And I just wanted to say to you guys that for me, that was the real signifying thing that our chatterbots are not only on fire, but the accuracy was getting better and better. And I feel that if we grow and develop with the blockchain infrastructure, which could actually turn into something bigger and better, like Hashgraph and different stuff that will support robotics and autonomous driving and yada, yada, yada. I won't go into too much detail there. But I think in terms of this is going to make us even more powerful in the future. So for me personally, I am contributing a large part of my day to continue making, number one, to make our chatterbots and our data linguistic patterns a lot better and picking up different things. And number two, to make sure that our marketing goes out and then we're attracting the right clients at the right time. And so we've had a lot of successful people that have joined our newsletter, and I'm here today to basically tell you I'm not a guru, I'm not some big, analyst, I'm not Warren Buffett, I don't want to be Warren Buffett, and I'm basically, I class myself more as a messenger because we are doing things that haven't been really done before. And it really is proof that this whole blockchain thing, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where people are saying blockchain is going to be big. Well, personally myself, I'm actually already using the technology. I'm using up the infrastructure and I'm programming to trying to interact with blockchain to prove it's going to be bigger and better than other people think. So while many analysts are out there saying blockchain is just a fad, I don't think so. I think blockchain is going to be a stepping stone for some massive things coming in the future, whether that has to do with blockchain or different technology or 5G, 6G. I don't really know. I can look into it for different people if they want to know, but to understand that is a whole different topic. What I'm really about here is to prove to you that this is big, guys. And remember, blockchain is the backbone of what's running cryptocurrency, and especially Bitcoin first. That was the big first one. And I don't think people, Satoshi Nakamoto, when they developed all this and when things slowly progressed, I really don't think people thought blockchain was going to be this really, really big thing. When I was talking to people, and even one of my next door neighbors, he said, oh, they tried blockchain in the 80s and it failed, and he was very negative on it. However, you have to remember, since the 80s, like 85, 86, there's been so many big developments happen. And that's another thing that I'm constantly reading about, what infrastructure is changing in technology. And we had a large tech boom on the stock market, and that seems to be gone just too nuts. And right now, there's all these companies that are like Facebook and Twitter, and they are in a lot of trouble because they've been stealing you guys' number, your phone number, your email, your residential addresses. They've been spamming you and on-selling that data to someone else. And that is pretty much like the worst criminal thing you could do because they don't have your permission, right? And they've been doing it here in Australia as well. Like, it's ridiculous. And they're in a lot of trouble right now with the SEC and the Fed and, all these privacy groups. And it's funny that when all that is happening and all this is going on and all these big companies are in trouble, all these tech companies are going down, their stocks have been crashing. It's funny that in the background, this crypto thing that everyone's saying, oh, it's a scam and crypto is crap and it's a bubble and it's going to burst. While that could happen in the future, I mean, you have to remember that crypto is all about privacy, guys. Privacy, that is the key word that we keep picking up. And so when you're talking about privacy, there is no way for you to get your data stolen. There is no way to get your things stolen. And it's really big on that, and biometrics and all sorts of things in regards to cryptography that are changing the landscape. And so are we going to see in the future a time when Facebook and Twitter become the MySpace of social media? How could you imagine that? Because we all know what happened to MySpace. It was very, very popular. Everyone was like, are you on MySpace? Get on MySpace. Oh, quick, I'll talk to you on MySpace. And everyone was talking about MySpace, but right now it's like dead. It's in the graveyard. And I think, guys, I really think that some of the stuff we're looking at, it could be about the fact that Twitter and Facebook are about to fall from their perches. And in the coming years, could Facebook and Twitter become like MySpace? I definitely think so, because the world is changing, the blockchain universe is changing, and technology is changing. And we're in that really dynamic shift of paradigmic shift of technology, blockchain, digital currencies, and it's revolutionizing everything that we have that has been made possible. People are sick of the banks, and it's funny that Bitcoin was created in 2009, and what happened in 2008? Worldwide collapse of the stock market and banks going bankrupt. People are sick of the lies. People are sick of the cheating. People are sick of losing money in the stock market or with their bank, and people have simply had enough. So this is, I mean, I could be a total anarchist on that right now and go into some stupid rant. But for me personally, I do think Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and digital currencies is our time, or for the universe to equalize and equilibrium out itself, because I really think that people have had enough of the banks, and it's time that someone did something about it, and we have to all be blessed that Satoshi Nakamoto really saw that, and he wanted to make the infrastructure and the world of payments change in a situation where everything was just free, everything was free reign, and nobody was constrained or under any branch of unification and when we're talking about that sort of thing, there was no overseeing umbrella of what happens. And that's what I love about Bitcoin. You have a wallet address. There is no one that you have to answer to. It's sort of like be your own bank. I keep seeing lots of shirts with saying, be your own bank. And I love that because people are now taking the reins back. Whereas banks used to control everything, used to control people. And it's no doubt that people like, Warren Buffett and some of these big banks are actually scared of Bitcoin. They might not admit it at the time or at 2019, but I do realise that they have a situation where they need to be worried. They need to be worried, guys. And that is why I think with what I'm doing here and me being a messenger and releasing stuff and giving people tomorrow's news today in a format they can read and even profit from, and they've been successful, and I've been very, very happy to do that. And for me personally, it is fantastic. I've never been more excited to be part of all this. And I know that I'm just like I realize that I'm only one grain in the sand. I'm not some big guru spruiking, going around the world, giving seminars. No, I don't really want to do that. That's not really me. I am really just about doing what I love. I do believe that in this lifetime, if you're not doing what you love every day, then you're not living your true life. It's not about money. It's not about sex. It's not about, having a big $1 million jet boat or a jet skis or a fancy Mercedes car. It's about being happy, and that's it. Health and wealth, as they say, it's two different things. And, while I haven't seen many people cry in a Ferrari, I mean, money is one thing, but, money cannot buy happiness, guys. You have to be doing what you love, and you have to be happy. And when you're happy, you're free. And I really feel that is the overall message that I need to share today. And I do believe that you guys are listening to this for a reason. You came to me for a reason, and I do believe in that. We're all here to learn, and we're all here to share and to learn patience. And as you know, crypto is a very great way to learn patience. And I'm truly am blessed. I feel that I am blessed, and I want to thank you guys again. I've been on this thing now for about half an hour, so I'm going to let everyone go. But I did think that today it was important to share with you the background of what's happening. I know people are interested in the whole Chatterbot newsletter and our data, and they want to know a little bit more about it. They want to educate themselves, and so hopefully today, even though it's been rambling on and talking to you guys for half an hour, it really is important. 37 minutes now, guys. So I do appreciate you guys taking the time to stick with me on this and learn a little bit more about our business, learn a bit about what we're doing and why we're so successful. And it really is fun. I know people right now are sort of thinking, I want to get involved, and everyone's talking about this, and you guys are, sound like you're awesome. But the price, look, guys, we will try to do you guys a deal, okay? I don't want anyone to miss out on stuff that we produce, because I feel that if you miss out, it could really give you many regrets. I think that's the only thing with our newsletter. We're giving stuff away in data and writing our tips and our tricks and our analysis, but sometimes people come in too late. So I'd hate for that to be you, and we will be increasing our prices soon. So I do believe that if you're listening to this now and you are enjoying what we're saying and you're thinking, aha, this is exactly what I need at exactly the right time, and it's the exact thing that I have been craving for all this time, and I've finally found it. I have some good news. All you need to do is look below. We have a little button where you can join. It's actually with our Chatterbot newsletter, because we've been overrun. We've been overwhelmed, and we've had a press release done about us about 2 weeks ago, and since then people have just been going nuts. And I'm basically working large part of my day just to get people registered. And so if you have been interested in doing this and joining with us, I would really recommend that you do so in the quickest time possible. So there is a button below. Like I said, it's private invitation only. You'll talk to one of our staff and one of our contact support members. And then if we feel that this is for you and you're interested in joining our Chatterbot newsletter, which is a daily, Monday to Friday daily newsletter on crypto and all things, in terms of blockchain, I'd love for you to join. So click the link below, click that blue button below, basically you'll get taken over to another page, and all you need to do is fill out that form, and then someone will get back to you after you've submitted that form. But in the meantime, I've had a lot of fun, guys. It's getting on to 40 minutes here, and too long. It's too long, guys, and I want to let you get back to your day. So thanks again for listening to this. Thank you for all the kind words and all the blog messages and everything in between. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learnt a lot from today's message from the Chatterbot Newsletter podcast, and hopefully you will join us in the future and be part of our membership. God bless you all. Have a great day and talk soon. Have a really, really great week, guys. Okay, peace.